Today we are going to install Flutter on this computer, and this is an Apple M1 Pro computer, has a 14-inch, and this is just new. We are going to install Flutter from scratch. Let's launch Safari and see flutter.dev, which should bring us to Flutter website. And yes, let's get started. And we need to install on our Mac OS. Okay, if you're installing on Silicon, you must have the, I don't know what this is, but I'm guessing we have to go to our terminal and then paste this there. Okay, we don't have this command yet. But usually what I like to do is to install Android Studio first, because that has all the tools that I need to develop on my Mac. So let's install Android Studio, and then we download this, and we choose the version Mac with Apple chip, and we allow that to download. That will take a while to download, and while I am on that, we need to install Xcode as well. So we go to the App Store, and then we will look for Xcode. We use Xcode for iOS development, so really need it, and then you hit the download. It's going to download, and we'll wait. Android Studio installed, and we can go ahead and install Android Studio, and it needs us to move this to the applications folder. Moving that, and done. And we can go type Android Studio here. We find it there, and then we can run it. Okay, are you sure you want to open? Do not import settings. Let's do a fresh installation. Okay, so next, setup standard. I love dark theme, so the next thing we are going to install these guys. We need to accept all the Android licenses, so you're going to accept, and then you can finish, and it's going to download the components you need for development on Android. And also don't forget that we have Xcode installing here, which is pretty cool, and you can see the details of how it's installing, so we can give that a minute to install. Okay, we are done installing the components, and let's just go ahead and finish that. And let's go over to plugins. We should be able to install Dart from here, which we install, which is what we need to install Flutter. and then go to the Flutter from here, and there you go. Okay, with Dart and Flutter install, we need to restart our Android Studio to be able to use it. And yes, so we have a new Flutter project here, and we can go ahead and click on new and click on Flutter. Now it's going to ask for the SDK part, which we have not done yet. So go back to this, and we are going to get the Flutter SDK, and let's download this for Apple Silicon because that's what we have, and then we download that. What we need to do is we need to create a folder called development here, and it's the folder that we unzip what we have downloaded from, which is this Flutter SDK. We need to extract it there so that we'll be able to use it. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so we go here, and usually I'll just like to use the Finder or Spotlight search and look for my name, and I'll see my folder here, and inside here I can create a new folder called development. Okay, now we still have the this installing. After it's finished installing, we will run this command on the terminal and we'll be able to use it. And by the way, this uses Flutter 3, the latest version of Flutter. So let's go. Okay, and also we also need another IDE, which I love to use, Visual Studio Code. So you may want to use that as well. So we can go ahead and install Visual Studio while this is installing, and also we still have Xcode installing as well. So we can download for Mac Universal, and we have 2 downloads here. Right. Okay, and we are done installing, and if you go to download, we will see Flutter here, and it's already decompressed that for us. So what we need to do is we need to copy this and then go to our development here and then put that there, and we'll have Flutter copied to our development. And so if you want to create a new project in Android Studio that we have here, we'll be able to set the SDK path to the development. And so go to the folder and click on development, and you see Flutter, and open next. Okay, we now need to install something else. Also, Visual Studio are finished installing, so we can run Visual Studio. Yay! We have Visual Studio here, and we'll be using this for our Flutter development. Let's go to extensions. I think we have a Flutter extension here. Okay, which we need to install. And we also need that, which we should have installed first, but we can still install it this way. We will install that right after. And there's a lot of extensions for Flutter in the extension marketplace. Like you can see packages for state management and a whole lot of stuff. And let's check on our command line. I am not sure we actually need this. It talks about Git, but I'm not sure it affects anything we want to do. So let's give it a project name. We can finish that, and it's creating Flutter. And here we have a new Flutter project open in our Android Studio. But then we can't run this yet because we don't have an emulator that will run it. So there's no emulator, but we can run this. It's saying we should open iOS emulator, but we don't have Xcode installed yet. So what we can do is we can run an emulator, which I guess was installed with Android Studio. Let's try to run that. Let's terminate it. Okay. Oh, so we have an emulator. It came installed with Android Studio, so which is pretty good. And if you go here, you can already see the emulator, which is great. So we let this launch, and then we can launch our app and see how it looks. And when you click on this run, it's going to run the main.dart. Main.dart is going to do some gradable build, and you'll be able to run that. And also to tell you that radio build takes a while, and it's expected to have that. So if you check, it's already given you a build folder in your project files, and that means it's working. And let's check on our Xcode, and it's still taking a while to install. This is largely can be due to internet connectivity. If you have slow internet, it's going to take a while to install. But I have a fairly fast internet, not so fast but manageable. So let's see what our speed is. Okay, we are on around 40 something MB per second, 50, so that's fair enough. Take a while to install. And it's checking for licenses, preparing to install Android SDK tools, and we are having some progress here. Let's go. And finally, we have this installed on a Flutter, and Flutter is running currently on this device. And as you can see, we have Flutter here, and we can change. Works with hot reload like everything, and awesome. And it comes with notifications as well. Awesome. And the next part is to have this run on iOS, so we still need that part to work, and that would mean that Xcode has to finish installation. Okay, and let's check on our Flutter here. It has installed, and it has also installed that for us. And let's see if we can create a new Flutter project. Go to your command palette and do Flutter. Couldn't find SDK, so we can locate our SDK. It's in development. Select Flutter, we set the SDK. So it's saying that we should make sure that it's in our path. So we go back to Flutter and we need this in our path. So let's go to terminal, just paste this, and we expected it. So let's close Xcode and launch it again. Where did we put Visual Studio? Okay, so I can't find Visual Studio. It's here. You can move it to your applications folder. And let's go to a command palette again. Let's switch Flutter template application, and it's going to ask where you want to save it. For now, let's save to our documents, and let's call it start up. Yes, I trust this author. So it's creating the Flutter template for us, and we can skip all this. And it automatically selected the device from Android here, so we don't have to create a new emulator again. So we can just go ahead and try to run, and you can see it's saying no developer tool because we have not finished installing Xcode, but it doesn't matter. We just want to run this on Android, so it's asking for permissions, so we're going to give it permissions, and insufficient memory, and that is because the memory of this phone is actually pretty small. You can increase that in your, I think you can edit that here, somewhere around here. We are giving it, let's increase this to 8,000, and let's try to start again. Can we start it again? Okay, so we've started that again, and we've increased the size to about 8 gig memory, and go back here and try to run. Okay, so it has built and it has installed on our emulator here. As you can see, it's working. We can change the code from blue to red, and it will rebuild. And if you go here, yay, it's working. So we have it installed on Android Studio and Visual Studio, which is great. This is what we want, and awesome. So the last part is for it to work on our Xcode, and once we get that working, we are good to go. So we've got it installed, and we can go ahead to open it up. And it's going to open in a bit, and you're going to agree. Let's go password, and installing all the components. Will take some few seconds to do that. And remember that we want to be able to launch simulator, the app on a simulator. So let's go back to Xcode. So it's telling us that we need to install Rosetta, and downloading Rosetta because we're going to need it for software not compatible with Mac. Let's see. It's got a bit of things with installation because it's just new. Okay, so we have Xcode installed here, and let's try to create a new project. Not necessarily a new project. Let's cancel that. Let's open Xcode again. And what I'm going to do is, on the project, I'm going to open in Xcode. So it opens, and let's see if we can run. Emulator. I'm not sure how to go. Okay, so let's do on iOS simulator from there, and it's going to open iOS 15. So we actually don't need to open the project in Xcode, so we're just going to close that. And if you look at our VS Code, you can see that it's already picking up iPhone SE 3rd generation. On the simulator, you can actually also change the device. I think you can open an iPhone 13 Pro Max. So let's try to open that. I'm going to close this because I don't want that. I want an iPhone 13 Pro Max, and it's going to try to run. And let's see, we can select the device here. So we allow you to open, and then we try to run it. Okay, so let's try to select the device which is selected, and we can run debug. It's going to try to install some CocoaPods thing here, so we'll give it a little bit of time, but eventually we should be able to run this app on an iPhone 13 Pro Max simulator. Oh yeah, and we are good to go, and we have the application running on the simulator here, which is great, and it's almost done. So it took 17.6 seconds to install. It's running Xcode build, take a little bit of time, and awesome. Awesome, and we have it running, which is good, and everything works. We can minimize this a little bit so we can see what we are doing. And if we have purple, bingo, it's super fast, which makes sense. Yeah, and I hope you've been able to use this tutorial to install your Flutter on your M1 Pro. This is M1 Pro. If you want the tutorial for M1, I linked it in the description, and see you next in the next video. Bye.